better screw his head back on. And I mean tightly.
All right, I've been sitting here. This is like my fourth time recording, and I've been trying to wrap my brain around how I'm going to present my ideas to the world. And I'm gonna just keep it a bean. The God of War Ragnarok left me underwhelmed. This shit was mid. I'll be honest with you. I'm sorry. I want to apologize to the God of War stands that like thinks I'm, that thinks is the best thing since sliced bread. It's a masterpiece. Clearly, is not. It's just an issue of they 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 set the expectations in 28 God of War 2018, and in my opinion, they failed to reach those levels that they reached. Reach the levels that they reach the levels that they set, the bars that they set. So, in 2018, they set this whole thing of Odin and Thor are these two pieces of shit. These two horrible gods that are going around, honestly, taking over whatever. Odin is obsessed with averting Ragnarok and all being all knowing, and Thor is butchering and murdering giants left and right, or whatever. And it's built up to like this eventual thing where Atreus and Kratos will have to eventually fight them. Like the Allfather will not allow, them to constantly like live a normal life with them now since they killed Thor's sons or whatever. Like blood has been shed, war is coming. And honestly, it felt very underwhelming after beating the game. I played the game twice, and so one of my main issues is with the story. And my issue with the story is it's not that it delivers at some parts and under delivers at others. One of my biggest issues is Odin. And it's like, how do you hype this guy up? He is this not all knowing, but this like manipulative, toxic, horrible person that basically cursed Mimir to forever be tortured and trap Freya away from her home for the rest of her life or eternity or whatever. And when she shows up, he's just like a not an old man, but he's like this cool, like slick guy. You know what I mean? Like, oh hi everyone. And it's like, it's very deflating. And I'm not one of those people who's like, it has to go back to the old God of War. I need Kratos to be bloody and butcher and all that stuff. But you could have tied that into Odin trying to manipulate Atreus. You know what I mean? You could, if you want to get this thing where Atreus goes to Asgard, you could have it where him as Tyr is like the worm in the Atreus' brain. Like, he's, working the place like, oh, your dad's holding you back, this and the third, you should just follow your own way, blah 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 blah. And Atreus like, oh yeah, like I believe you. And so then he snaps and turns into a bear and starts smacking people and leaves. You know what I mean? Because he had enough. He's tired of the Kratos like holding him back. You know what I mean? It's so much left on the table, and then you could have had it because Santa Monica said, like some developers said, they were afraid of making a third game of Norse mythology. They was afraid that fans wouldn't care about Fimbulwinter as much or making it interesting. Well, if you had it focused on, you could have made it a third game, because the game we got now is okay, but it's like, if compared to like other situations, you could have done the third game. I'm glad they did too, instead of trying to stretch it out and milk it, because they had multiple of the Atreus sections with him picking fruit. Oh, I was gonna lose my mind, but they what they could have done was the second game could have been a build up, because it's a jarring thing playing 2018 to playing this game, because like end of 2018, oh, I trust you, you're a capable warrior, and I trust you in the battlefield. To Kratos in the first game, excuse me, oh, I don't trust you, like we need to train, you're not ready, this and the third. It's like, bro, we went this whole journey, fought Boulder multiple times, and it led to nothing. You know what I mean? It's like, you still don't trust me. And so what I was gonna say was, the second game could have been Odin basically manipulating Atreus, and causing Atreus to like leave Kratos. And so the entire second game is Kratos alone, right? And you could have had a thing where like you also free Freya and had a companion there or whatever. But it was like Kratos like descent back into his old ways, right? Because especially when he fights Heimdall, right? Where like he's Kratos is preparing for Ragnarok for the wrong reason. That's what it turned into. Like he's like, I'm going to war for my son by any means necessary. I'm going to get my son back, even if it means the possibility of dooming all the realms. You know what I mean? And it could have been a like, especially when he fights Heimdall and like he's like, instead of choking him out, he goes back to like, the OG Kratos. Like he's bashing his brains and it's fucking horrible. And it's like on some even Mimir's like, yo, what are you doing? Like, what is going on here? Like, you need to relax. Then we can have that whole front moment at the end of the second game, or like you could even have it where Atreus doesn't go back to Kratos the entire game, and every time you do something more and more heinous, Odin's like, you see, I told you. You see, this and the third, you need to stay with me, stay with, becoming an Aesir, this and the third, train under Thor, and we'll take over it. We'll use your mask and blah 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 blah, whatever heinous deeds or whatever. And throughout the game, he learns his like, you have this thing where like Kratos is fucking snapped. I'm not saying like snap where like it breaks character, but like he's referring back to his angry self. So when they do meet, either at the end of the second game or the beginning of the third game, you know what I mean? You can have it where you even have to fight Atreus and be like, hey, I'm sorry. Have the whole speech where like, I'm becoming my old self. Like, I need to stop this and the third. And then you can have the whole be better speech go back to him, and it's like, it'd be a nice moment at that point. But this one was more like Odin's like, hey, I want this, don't mess with me and I won't mess with you, and I'll just leave it alone. I don't think, like, especially how like power tripped and hungry he is, it's such a jarring thing to what they say, especially when Mir's like screaming at Atreus in the before like the argument scene is like, look at what he's done to all of us, and like Odin hasn't done shit to us yet, you know what I mean? He ain't fucking me over, you know what I mean? He ain't messed me up, so why am I fearing old buddy? It's like okay, it's like a friend telling you about their ex, and you're interested in their ex, right? Which is crazy, but work with me. And your ex is your friend is telling you, oh man, my ex does like this and the third, horrible person, don't even try this and the third. And hey, keep it a bean. Some of y'all be like, fuck it, I still like her, so I'm gonna try it. Then when you learn from firsthand, oh yeah, this chick's crazy, now you're like, okay, I see what you're getting at. We need something like that. We need to see it. All right, we need to see it first, not firsthand, or just like an example, like how when Boulder, with a backstory of Boulder, how he wanted to choke out Freya, whatever, and wanted to kill her. Okay, see, he's off his rocker. There's no stopping this dude. He's hell bent on killing his mother. Shit like that. That's what we needed. Odin was more like word of mouth. We never see it, and so when he does at the end, it's kind of like, okay. Especially when Thor is already a sympathetic person. The main villains we really don't care for. Like Zeus, from the get-go, we're like, okay, it's smoke with him. He tried to kill us. He did kill us, but like, it's smoke forever, you know what I mean? And it is also a bunch of stuff that is like you could look it up online, but it's like a bunch of plot holes that like, who blew the horn when Kratos and Atreus were like somewhere else, and what's the giant eagle? I think they explained that, like she's like the keeper of hell, but like, why was that and why is Zeus down in hell? Like, what is that about? Stuff like that. It just felt very underwhelming. And now the more I think about it, and you cannot contribute the underwhelming of stories, because I know some of the OG God of War films, like, it's because of the camera angle. Like, I hate the camera angle. I think it's, in some instances, it's fire, like when the mini bosses, like, those are fire, but for other instances, it's like very restraining, and like so many things could have been more epic than what it was, but it wasn't, because like they had to keep it the third person in one shot. So yeah, that is it for me. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. And yeah, do I expect them to change this in the next game? No. The God of War franchise has been super successful with this new reboot, so I'm pretty sure they're gonna stick and run this to the ground until we gonna be lesser and lesser like either originals, or they'll just do a bit like, oh, returning back to form, Devil May Cry 5 type shit. You know what I mean? But I doubt it. You know, money first, money talks, and people like it, so it's gonna stay the same. Anyways, that is it for me. Thank you. Have a good night.